In this video, I'll show you how to do texture painting. There's multiple ways to do this, but I'm going to start off by going to the shading tab, since you are familiar with that, and we see the shade that's already been added to the default cube. To start painting, I need to change that from just a base color to an image. So I'm going to go to Add, go down to Texture, and change that to an image texture. I'll drag that off to the side, and then I'll connect color to color. And then I need to create the image that I'm going to be drawing on or creating. And you can call this whatever. If you're going to have multiple, you can give it names, or you can leave it untitled, really doesn't matter. Normally you're going to do blank, but I'm going to just go ahead and click this drop down and do the color grid just to add that on so you can see how this works. And then I'll also do create new image. And you can see that it added that color cube that is just kind of a preset color image. Then I'm going to go back to my texture painting. Now, depending on your model, it may be pre-unwrapped already. You may see an unwrapped version, which basically means to paint on this, I need to turn this into a flat image. Right now we have this side and this side and this side, and we have to kind of peel back all those layers. Some of them will automatically be unwrapped, and you'll see a preview of that over here when you go to texture painting. Others won't. If you don't see a preview of it unwrapped, what you can do is go to UV editing, and then here we can already see now that it is unwrapped. Had this not existed, what I can do is come over here to edit mode, do A to select all of it, then click U to bring up the unwrapping menu. And there's a number of different ways that we can unwrap. Usually I'll just do the smart UV project. And then I like to add a margin a lot of times, because, and I'll show you here in a second why I add that margin. So I increase that from 0 to something like 0.7, 0.8, maybe 0.1 or 0.08, 0.09, 0.1, unwrap. And what you can see now is there's little margins or islands in between each side. So each of these represents a side of my cube. To figure out which ones are which, this is why I did the color grid here. So I have the H1, I can rotate around until I find H1. There we go, there's H1. So I know that this corresponds to this. To see that in action, let's go back to texture paint. Let me find the H1 again over here. I'll change my color maybe to like a yellow. I'll start painting on this, and we can see over on the left side on my map that H1 just got hidden. And I can actually paint on either side. If you want to paint on this side, you just have to make sure that this is no longer on the UV editor, that it got switched to image editor as well. And then make sure it gets switched. A lot of times it'll be in default view, so I can't do anything in view mode. But if I switch to paint mode, now I can also paint over on this side, and we can see that it has updated it on the cube. So you can paint on whichever side you prefer. Now normally you're not going to start with this kind of image, so if I want to change that to just a blank image, what I can do is come up here to where it says untitled, so we can see my material mode. I can add a new base color. I can change that from blank to something else, or I'll leave it on blank, so maybe I want a new base color. Hit add, and there we go. So now I have my new base color, and then I can start painting, updating it, and I can see it on either side. So that is the basics of texture painting. Let me bring in an actual sculpture to show how it works on the sculptures as well. Okay, so this is actually a model created by one of you. I'm going to kind of go through the same process. I'll just quickly go to my shading. I can see in this case it does not have the base material, so add a base material. Then I will add the texture, image texture, connect it, create a new untitled. This time I will not change it to the color, I'll just leave it blank. Okay, then I'll switch back to texture painting. We can see that there's no map over here though, so I'm going to go to UV editing, and now I can start to see kind of a crazy little map here. On the right side, I'll hit A on my keyboard to select all of it. I'll hit U to unwrap it. I'll do a Smart UV project. On this one, it probably doesn't need to have the islands, but I'll go ahead and create the islands just so you can see how it splits all these different sides into different unwrapped areas. And there's my islands. So now if I go back to texture painting, I'll increase my brush size a bit. And you can see that as I start painting, we can see those islands start to appear over there because right now everything is black. But as I paint my model, the islands appear, and now if I wanted to, I could come over here and add detail. But then just to quickly show you some of the different brushes. Right now I've just been doing the hard brush. I can do more of an airbrush. I can decrease the strength. Let me decrease the size a little bit so it doesn't freeze on me as much. And using the airbrush, now I have a little more control. I can kind of just start fading in different colors, blending it. I can decrease the strength even more, increase the size just to add, a little bit of, texture. Obviously, people, when we're doing like humans or even creatures like this, your skin isn't all just one solid color. So that is how you can start doing some texture painting on your different models.